Hello and welcome to our next virtual program from PJ Library in Durham-Chapel Hill. I'm Elizabeth Gerson. I'm the PJ Library Ambassador for our community, and I'm so excited to be back here again with you today, celebrating our next holiday and having another fun program all together. So today we're celebrating the holiday of BShevat. You might be saying, I know what BShevat is, or you might be saying, I've never heard of this holiday before. So either way, a little bit about this holiday is that it is often called the birthday of the trees or the new year of the trees. In Judaism, we actually have a few different New Years, and we get to celebrate them all, which is really fun. We have Rosh Hashanah, we have BShevat for the trees. We also have January 1st, and something that we do on BShevat to celebrate is plant trees. Think about the environment, ways that we can help the earth. BShevat actually means the 15th day of the Hebrew month called Shvat. So it's like saying May 15th or January 15th. And BShevat usually falls in late January, early February. And you might also be thinking to yourself, that's kind of a weird time to be celebrating a holiday that's all about planting trees in the environment, because that's the middle of our winter. But where this holiday originated, in the Middle East during biblical times or a little bit after that, think about what it's like in that part of the world. Things are actually starting to grow and we plant things at that time of year. And so even though in our part of the world and in Durham-Chapel Hill, we might get some nice warm weather in January or February, but really we're thinking towards the spring. And we have two crafts today, I know, very exciting. So if you've got your bag with you that you picked up at Jewish for Good at the 11 JCC, you'll find two crafts. We also have two stories, and we have songs from our very special guest, who we all know and love, Hinda. So this video and our BShevat virtual celebration is jam-packed, and I hope you have as much fun as we think you will. So the first story that I'm going to read is for any of our particularly younger watchers. It's called It's BShevat. It's just a short story, tells us a little bit about the holiday. Grab a shovel, pick a spot, plant a tree. It's BShevat. Dig a hole about knee-deep to give the roots a place to sleep. Use your hands, get on the ground, and pat the dirt down all around. Oops, hard to turn these pages. Say a blessing when you're done. May your tree get rain and sun. Both very important things for growing trees. Sing happy birthday to all the trees. We love your shade, your fruit, your breeze. Get so many benefits from plants and trees. Those are just some of them. The tree you plant will do its share to help the earth and clean the air. To give the birds a place to sing, to hold your sturdy tire swing. Does anybody have a tire swing or a tree house or something else that their trees in their yards help them play with? Watch your tree throughout the year as branches grow and leaves appear. And every year on BShevat, bring your family to this spot. Stand beside the tree you've sown to see how much you both have grown. Pick a spot to dig and then grab your shovel once again. So that's a nice short story, just giving us a little taste of what BShevat is like. The next story is really for anybody who wants to listen. It's called Netta and Her Plant by Ellie Gelman. It's to BShevat today, the teacher explained. Your name, Netta, means plant. Anyone out there watching with the name Netta? I know a couple of people with that name. And now is the time to plant. We can plant this seedling together. Netta brought her plant home. Her ima, that's the Hebrew word for mom, put it on the small table in the living room. We can take care of it together. Oh, there it is. Netta liked to play in the living room. She put together puzzles and built a tower with her blocks. Netta tried to make the tower as tall as her plant. Plants like to hear music, said Ima, so Netta sang to them while she played. The plant grew and Netta grew. It was to BShevat again. Ima said to Netta, "You are too big for your little bed. It's time to buy you a bigger one." Ima and Abba, so Abba is the Hebrew word for dad, took Netta to the furniture store. They bought a big bed. Netta picked out a quilt covered with trees and plants and flowers. That's a pretty design. When they got home, Netta looked at her plant. "You are too big for that pot," she said. "You need a bigger pot." So Ima and Abba took Netta to the garden shop to buy a bigger pot. Do you have a plant at your house that grew so much you needed to take it and put it into a bigger pot? Or even plant it outside? I have one like that. They helped her put the plant in the new pot and added new dirt. Netta took her crayons and drew trees and plants and flowers on a piece of paper and wrapped around the new pot. The plant grew. Netta grew. On her birthday, Netta came home from school wearing a crown of flowers. She carefully lifted it off her head and put it around her plant. "Now you can celebrate too," Netta said. The plant grew and Netta grew. Wow, look at how big that plant is getting. Then something surprising happened. Her Ima grew too. Grown-ups don't usually do a lot of growing, except for, let's find out what happened. Just after school ended for the summer, Netta had a little sister. Her name was Avital. Abba explained that tal is the word for dew. He told her dew helps to water plants so that they grow. Dew are those little droplets that you might see outside on the grass or on plants in the morning. Even when it hasn't rained, a lot of times everything's a little bit damp in the morning, and that's from the dew. Ima was very busy taking care of Avital, but Netta didn't mind. She was very busy taking care of her plant. Savta, that's the Hebrew word for grandma, came over and helped. She came over and helped Netta water the plant by herself without spilling. Then she helped Savta give Avital a drink of water, and she didn't spill any. The plant grew, and Netta grew. One day, Ima and Abba told Netta that they were moving to a new, bigger house. It was too crowded in their apartment. Netta wasn't sure she wanted to move. "It will be okay," Ima said. "In the new house, you will have your own room." Netta told her plant that soon they would be moving. You don't have to be afraid. It will be okay. And in the new house, you will have your own room. Did you know that plants like it when you talk to them? Might seem a little silly, but they really love it when you talk to them or when you play music for them. On moving day, Netta hurried to help Ima put her special quilt on the bed in her new bedroom. Then she put the plant on the porch. You will be the first one to see the sun every morning, she said. The plant grew. Netta grew. The summer was over. It was time for kindergarten. Netta wasn't sure she wanted to go to a new school. Abba told her that she was big enough and that she would make new friends. Netta went out to the porch to talk to her plant. Its leaves leaned past the edge of the pot, and the stem reached above the railing. Wow, you've grown so much. It's time for you to go live by yourself, Netta said. Tomorrow, before I start my new school, Abba will help me plant you in a garden where you can make new friends. Netta and Abba put the plant in a big basket. They walked across 2 streets and turned a corner. Behind Netta's new school was a park. They chose a sunny spot and planted Netta's plant behind a tall tree. The plant grew. Netta grew. The plant is almost twice as tall as Netta now. On the first day of kindergarten, Netta took a friend to meet her plant. This is Ilana, my new friend, she said to the plant. Ilana means tree. Look at all the trees that grow in this park. They will be your friends. When it is BShevat again, the trees will have a birthday, and so will you. Ilana and I will come to visit you with all of our new friends, and we will have a party. And that is what they did. The end. What do you think a party for trees looks like? What would you do if you were having a party for trees? Would you have cake? There's another book that I like to read with my daughter where they don't have cake for the trees, but instead they bring dirt and water and they plant another tree. One craft that we have today is to plant our very own parsley. We have some seeds in a cup. It's hard to see. There we go. Can you see those little seeds there in the cup? We have the cup that you'll plant your parsley in. And this is actually a biodegradable cup that can be planted in the ground. And we'll get you some specific instructions about that if that's something that you'd like to do. And you have a little bit of soil here that we've given you. Now, to get the best parsley growing that you can, the first thing that you want to do is put a little bit of water in this cup with the seeds. And you want to soak them the night before you go ahead and plant them. So you put a little bit of water and then soak that out. And then you can drain the water, but also it'll be okay if you just leave the seeds in the water when you go to plant them. Then take about 3/4 of the amount of soil or the dirt that you have here in your bag and pour it into your cup here. Then go ahead and sprinkle in the seeds on top of the soil. Spread them out. You don't want them to be too cramped. And then take the rest of the soil, that last about 1/4, and pour it on top of the seeds and just pat it lightly down. You don't want to smash it, just so that it's nice and coated. You want to find a nice, maybe sunny spot to put it on. A windowsill is great. And you don't want to put too much water in, but maybe about once a week or so, whenever it starts to look a little dry, add a little bit more water to your plant, to your pot. And in about 3 or 4 weeks, you'll start to see the little sprouts coming up through the dirt. Now they don't just explode overnight into a big leaf, but you'll see tiny little sprouts, and then each day, just like in some of our stories, you'll see that the parsley leaves will begin to grow and grow and grow. And in about 6 weeks or so, 6 or 7 weeks, you will have parsley, hopefully, that looks as tall and fluffy and leafy and green as the parsley in this picture. And the really cool thing about planting parsley on BShevat is, let's pause for 1 second. Can you think of a time in the Jewish calendar, in the Jewish year, when you have parsley? Some people really love parsley, but for other people, they may only have it one time of year, and that time of year is on Passover. And if you look at a calendar, about 6 or 7 weeks after BShevat is the first Passover Seder. So if everything works out perfectly right and you plant your seeds on BShevat, you will have parsley that you've grown yourself that you can put on your Seder plate and have at your own Passover Seder, which is just really, really cool. The next project that we have is an edible dirt cup. Be very careful not to mix up the two projects because you don't want your parsley seeds in your edible dirt cup and you don't want your gummy worms in the real soil. So, the other project we have, you're gonna get a little cup like this and it's gonna have a few Oreos in it. The first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna crush those Oreos. You can put them in a bag and you can smash them with a hammer. You can smash them with your hand. You can smash them with your fingers. Get them good and crumbly. And you are gonna take some of those crushed Oreos and put them in your cup. And then you have your very own pudding pack here. We have, I think it's all chocolate. And you put some Oreos and you put in some pudding and then you do it again and you just layer Oreos, pudding until you're all out. And I don't have them in front of me today, but a very special helper made me a sample. You're gonna have a few gummy worms to put in your dirt cup. So you can have them sticking out, you can bury them deep, however you want. You can have them resting on top, however you would like to. And then you can enjoy and just dig in with a spoon and enjoy your edible dirt cup. I would recommend against eating the dirt and this cup, but it's up to you. We also have some special songs from the wonderful, amazing, super popular, you know her, I love her. Hinda's gonna sing some special BShevat songs for us today. Thank you so much for joining us for our virtual BShevat program. I hope you have a lot of fun making your edible dirt cups and planting your own parsley. We can't wait to see how it's growing. Share your pictures with us. And hopefully you have some beautiful parsley for your Passover Seder and that you enjoyed our stories and our songs. We look forward to seeing you at our next virtual PJ Library program. Again, I'm Elizabeth Gerson. I am the PJ Library Ambassador for Durham-Chapel Hill, and I'm so happy that you could join us today and that I could be here with you virtually. And we're looking forward to one day very soon, hopefully, being able to come together and do some really great programs face to face.
Hi, I'm Hinda, and I'm going to sing some BShevat songs with you. The first song I'm going to do has hand motions and body motions. So the first part is you're going to get all the way down and you're going to grow like a tree. And we grow, and we grow, and we grow, and we grow, and we grow. BShevat. Second part, get your fingers and you go two, 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 two. BShevat. Now, as you can see, there's many different kinds of trees. So every time I say tree, I want you to go tree, turn yourself into a different kind of tree. Okay, are we ready to go? So let's start low. And we grow, 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 and we grow. BShevat. Toot 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 BShevat. Tree, 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 tree. BShevat. Oh, I have a friend that comforts me. I'm a kid, and she's a tree. And we grow, 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 and we grow. BShevat. Toot 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 BShevat. Tree, 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 tree. BShevat. On my birthday, we ate a lot. On the tree's birthday, it's BShevat. And we grow, 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 and we grow. BShevat. Toot 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 BShevat. Tree, 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 tree. BShevat. And we grow, 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 and we grow. BShevat. Okay, the next song that we're going to do is we are going to do it without the guitar. And I always thought that I would be a wonderful tree. If I wasn't a person, I'd be a tree. So, if I were a tree, what a tree I'd be. If I were a tree, what a tree I'd be. If I were a tree, what a tree I'd be. If I were a tree, I would have a trunk. Trunk. If, and please do it with me as you see me jumping and doing all those things. If I were a tree, what a tree I'd be. If I were a tree, what a tree I'd be. If I were a tree, what a tree I'd be. If I were a tree, I would have a trunk. Trunk. I would have branches. Branches. If I were a tree, what a tree I'd be. If I were a tree, what a tree I'd be. If I were a tree, what a tree I'd be. If I were a tree, I would have a trunk. Trunk. I would have branches. Branches. I would have leaves. If I were a tree, what a tree I'd be. If I were a tree, what a tree I'd be. If I were a tree, what a tree I'd be. If I were a tree, I would have a trunk. Trunk! I would have branches. Branches! I would have leaves. I would have fruit. If I were a tree, what a tree I'd be. If I were a tree, what a tree I'd be. If I were a tree, what a tree I'd be. If I were a tree. Now the last song I'm going to do is a traditional Tu BShevat song. And it talks about the almond tree. And it's in Hebrew, but we're going to act it out. So, it's about an almond tree. And the almond tree is getting ready to bloom. And the sun's coming out. And the birds are on top of the roof saying, Tu BShevat is coming! Birthday of the little trees! So, you ready? Let's be a tree. Hashchedi porachat v'shemesh pazorachat tzipori merosh kogag mivas rotet bohechag Tu BShevat higia chag ha'ilanot Tu BShevat higia chag ha'ilanot. Let's try it one more time. Hashchedi porachat v'shemesh pazorachat tzipori merosh kogag mivas rotet bohechag Tu BShevat higia chag ha'ilanot Tu BShevat higia chag ha'ilanot. Happy Tu BShevat!